Hello and happy Friday, everybody. Welcome to Ecamm Live Demo. I am your host, Fuljens Henry, coming to you live from snowy, cold, upstate New York. I see a lot of fam that I am very familiar with in the chat. Hello to everybody. Hello, Lewis. Hello, iCast Enterprise. Paul, Valerie, Mr. Camera Junkie Lewis, Marianne, Jeremy. Listen. Where you at? All you guys are in the house. And also, if you are brand new to Ecamm, if you've never seen me before in any of these YouTube parts, please introduce yourself. Let us know that you're new. And also, if you haven't seen me, if you haven't seen any of my videos, again, I'm Fuljens Henry, one half of my better half, Anna, with Anna and Fuljens. We host Ecamm Network News and Entertainment, aka ENN, live on Mondays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here in the Ecamm Live YouTube channel. And then also in January, we're going to bring back Building Blocks. Building Blocks is where we do pretty cool and fun things with Ecamm, tips and tricks, different types of hacks. We try to break stuff, not as much as Daniel tries to break them, but we try to break stuff too. We just have a good time, and that's Building Blocks coming back to you January on the YouTube channel, Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Also, some housekeeping. If you have any questions, please place a Q: in front of it so we can find it. And also, during the demo, I'll show you why that's important as well. Hank, hello. Very good to see you here. Let's get started, shall we? And again, for those of you who are brand new, feel free to ask any questions you want in the chat. I'll be looking them through. What I like to do is I like to go through some of the main menu stuff, system preferences and things like that, because that also will help eliminate a lot of frequently asked questions and or address a lot of frequently asked questions, because you know exactly where to go and solve the simplest of things that can get you so frustrated. And speaking of my better half, Anahil is here in the chat. Hello, Miss Hill. Hello, Matt. Awesome Fun Things is in the house as well. And Hank, good to see you here. All right, let's get started. Let's go directly into, and you know what's good too? You know, when you're launching Ecamm and things like that, you're seeing all of this stuff here, right? So we're going to do this. Just close them out. Feel free to close out whatever that doesn't make sense to you or you don't think you need or whatever the case might be. And we're going to start blank. We're going to start super blank right here. Okay. And if you notice here, you can see, you know, some of the interface here, how long I've been recording and, you know, who's live and things like that. We can clear all that out, put it on a blank, clean slate. Just type command and tilde, which is over to the left of the #1 key or the apostrophe. So just command apostrophe, and that's going to clear that out. So now look at that, right? No more interface. Let's go up to Ecamm Live and let's go to some preferences just to get you started here. Let's do this right here. Okay. Just to get you started, just go through the different tabs real quick. And if you see something that's unchecked, right? I don't use it, I disable it, and it's either a very good reason why I disable it or I just don't use it, right? And if you see a lot of the stuff that I'm gonna show you, that's the same settings for ENN. It's the same settings for Building Blocks. So if you like those things, if you like the workflow, you like the run of show and how things are flowing, and you know, you don't see us like getting distracted by different things happening in Ecamm, these are the settings I'm going to show you to get you right. So under the general tab, you know, you play app sounds. Why would you want that, right? If you may want that, but for you know, for my purposes, I don't want those type of distractions. So that's unchecked. Animate reactions, yes, right? Because I just saw like a thumbs up going up in the comments and reactions and things like that. That's pretty cool. So you know, we can keep that. Show the camera switcher in the main window, referring to this thing here. So, see, this could get in your way. And this is another frequently asked question. It's like, this is in my way. How do I get rid of it? Watch this. Uncheck that, and it's gone. Okay. There are times where I use it, but for the most part, there's a brand new polished camera switcher. So we don't even need that one. So let's get it off our window, right? Get it off the window. This one here, show program window while in other apps. You know what that means? That means when you are in Ecamm and you want to go to your browser, my browser's over here. I have another monitor here. Another Ecamm window pops up. This one, right? And you're like, why is this popping up all the time? This is where you disable that. So you disable that there. You know why I have mine here? Because I use it to my advantage. Some people are annoyed by it, but I like this because I currently do not have a teleprompter. I have a monitor right here underneath my lens, and I'm able to place that program window there so I can monitor that. And that's good for doing remote production, so I can see the broadcast directly in front of me without interfering with the program window, the Ecamm program window. So I like to have two Ecamm windows. The main Ecamm window, and this is like my preview / confidence monitor / teleprompter Ecamm program window. So use it to your advantage once it stops annoying you. Okay, use it to your advantage. So that's good. But if you want to manually control that, uncheck that, because when you go to window, you can activate it here, program, okay? Or Shift Command O. That's how you manually pull up that second window without it annoying you, okay? Let's see what else. Keep utility windows in front while live. While broadcasting and recording, keep the floating utility windows. We just removed a whole bunch of that, so again, you don't want all those windows there. Just keep that unchecked, right? And overlay alignment, snappy. This is gonna give you the haptic feedback when you're moving overlays in your screen. So that's pretty cool. Or you could do none if you don't like haptic feedback. There's another one called sticky. Sticky and snappy, they behave different ways, but I keep it on snappy, okay? And this is for preview mode, okay? So we might get a little bit into that later, but if you're doing something in the background, if you're making some changes while you're live and you don't want people to see that, that's preview mode. But then when you're ready to publish it and go back to live, it's going to ask you, hey, do you want to go back? Do you want to return? So this is what that is versus when returning to live mode with unpublished changes, ask me first, or just go ahead and publish it, or whatever the case might be. So I think the default is ask. I leave it on ask, okay? And hide comments after a certain amount of time. You notice on the countdown, I was dragging the comments onto the screen and they don't disappear. That's why, because I don't have it checked, okay? I like to manually control when the comments need to be removed from the screen versus automatic. But if you want it automated, here's where you do it. You want to pull up a comment and you want it to be gone in 3 seconds, just change it right here, okay? But make sure that's checked on, all right? Let me just check to make sure. All right, yep, Darren, yes, Command tilde, perfect. Okay, good, so you guys are following along. My Crafty Avengers, hello, very good to see you here. Just saying what's up to some people who tuned in a little bit while I started. All right, good, you guys are good. All right, let's go to account. That's just your account information. Stream, I keep it on 4K 30. My camera set to 4K 30. I like to do local recordings in 4K 30 to repurpose, to have more flexibility when repurposing content and things like that. So I do that. Some people, you may want to do 1080 and whatever, but that's where you change those type of things under the third tab, okay? I keep it on high quality video mode because why not? And here is for tech check purposes, you can actually do your speed test right here inside of Ecamm. So you don't need to go to do a speed test through a browser. You can do it here, especially if you're going to add multiple destinations, you can just run it here. But there are certain things you're gonna notice while I'm live that is disabled for me because I'm live. But you can do it on your end, follow along and test those things out, right? So Ecamm Live has a built-in speed test. Recording tab, this is killer right here, okay? Because, for example, I'm just recording the broadcast. But what if I wanted to record, I have overlays and whatnot, and I'm in demo mode, right? So this is how the broadcast is recording. But what if I wanted a clean feed of my camera, just my camera as I'm doing this recording? You can do that. But if you have a guest and you want a recording of them as well, you can do that right here in isolated audio tracks. All you have to do is make sure you, and I'm able to do this live, which is cool, make sure you activate these things, right? But make sure you're assigning the proper camera or the proper person, proper placeholder to these camera A, camera B, and so on and so forth. And then we're gonna get into that later once we get to the brand new polished camera switcher. Okay, so that's there. And I want to assume that now that I've activated camera B, which is assigned to this cam link here, that's automatic. Now I should be recording my isolated video, which I wasn't before. Recording format, I leave it on MOV. Record only prompt for file name. So when you schedule your streams, you scheduling your broadcast, you're able to add the title there, right? And when you're about to go live, you're able to add the title there. But what if you're just recording only? That's where this is very helpful. So there'll be a prompt that will pop up and it will ask you to rename your video. You could do it at the end or you could do it before. Again, this is for record only. I have it set up to when the recording ends. For example, on an I, we record the ENN news flash. So once that recording is done, I hit finish, there's gonna be a pop-up prompting me to rename that file. If you want, you can do it when the recording starts. So once you click record, you're gonna get that prompt before the recording, or you could leave it old school and say never. But that is a very helpful feature right there. And before the recording starts, right? Because before, you would just hit record and boom, it just starts. But now you have a 3, 2, 1 countdown. So, you could, get your composure right, make sure you're positioned well and wait for that countdown and you could start delivering your content. So those are pretty cool. And if you ever have, I'll show you. So this is where you could select your local recordings folder. But if you want to find where that is, we can go into that a little bit later as well, because that won't be here. This is just to select and assign your recordings folder. Destinations here, this is where you add all of your destinations for, wherever you want to stream to and whatnot. And also it's always important to come here and check out to see which ones are active, which ones aren't, because as you can see here, there's some times where LinkedIn acts funny and it will just kick you out. So always go back and just do some maintenance under destinations, okay? And for video, some important things to note here under video as well, under this video tab. See default source mode. So if I start a new scene, whenever I start a new scene, create a new scene, my scene is going to show a camera. So scene meaning a slide for those of you who are brand new, right? So if I'm creating a new slide, the new slide will show this camera, like what you're seeing here. What if I don't want that? What if when I want to create a new slide or scene, I just want a blank screen. This is where you could just select blank here, okay? So now when we create a new scene, it's gonna be blank. It's not going to load up a camera. Or you can do screen share, but that is an old school screen share. We'll get into that a little later as well. So we just went from camera to blank. And mind you, I am on a brand new profile. So some of these things might be default because normally on the ENN profile, for example, my default source mode is always blank because when we're creating scenes on an I don't like to create a scene off of a camera background. I like to create the scenes off of a blank background, just like you would in PowerPoint, just like you would in Keynote. Default transition. Ecamm has a lot of cool transitions here. I like swipe. So we're gonna select swipe. So now every new scene that you create is gonna assign that swipe to the scene, okay? You could do cross dissolve, you can do different things. I like swipe, or you could do no transition. So it's just gonna do a hard cut to the next scene, So it's your preference, right? But it's cool to know that Ecamm has built-in transitions, right? All right, so here's some things as well. Fade out when finished, for the most part, I keep that unchecked. because it's gonna fade to black when your video ends. And there are some videos where you want to create a loop or something like that, and what's gonna happen is that you're gonna have a problem there. You're not gonna be able to create a clean loop of that video, because once you hit end recording, it's gonna fade to black. So if you uncheck that, now you could just basically loop your video over and over again without having to go into a video editing and kind of cutting out that fade to black. Uncheck that if you don't want to fade to black when your video ends. Okay? Auto play video files. If you have a scene, if you're creating a scene with a movie file, if you want it to auto play right away, begin playing videos automatically when you switch to that scene. If you like it like that, leave it. If you want to manually control, just like how I said I like to manually control the comments, uncheck this. Picture-in-picture above overlays. You know what? We're unchecking this. We don't want that. That's gonna create, and that's gonna be another frequently asked question we see. Hey, I did a screen share, and then I have my camera is down here, and I'm only able to move it. I can't resize it. That picture-in-picture camera overlay is one of the OG Ecamm camera overlays, and you can't really do anything about it. And if you're just working with like the modern camera overlays in Ecamm, uncheck that. You don't need that, okay? There's a lot of old school stuff here, which is really good, really helpful. But if it's getting in the way of you working with Ecamm's more modern features, disable them. Disable them. Show picture-in-picture in new video file and screen sharing scenes. Again, this is referring to the original picture-in-picture, original screen share, not the new modern overlay. So if you don't want to work with those, disable them. Just like show NDI and siphon titles full screen, I don't work with any of that stuff. So this is always blank for me, at least for now. Built-in camera. This applies to you people who are working with a MacBook Pro. And so for example, actually we're on the right scene. So let's say you're on your MacBook Pro and your default source mode is camera. What's gonna happen when you cut to a new scene? If you have like one of the crappy MacBook cameras, it's going to just default to that. So folks are going to be seeing up your nose and all these things when you're creating a scene. So if you don't want it to default to your FaceTime MacBook camera, disable built-in camera. You'll never have to worry about that ever again. So when you start a new scene, it won't be able to find that camera source. And for those of you who use Skype, but I'm pretty sure a lot of you, especially including those who are brand new, you're mostly working with modern features in Ecamm, such as the interview mode or Ecamm for Zoom, so the Zoom integration. But this is for Skype users to show active speaker camera. I've never really used Skype with Ecamm before, so I usually keep that unchecked. So again, there's a lot of things, right? If you do not work with them, just remove them, disable them, so they get out your way, and you're able to have a more streamlined workflow. Audio here, I don't really touch anything here. I know I have Rodecaster Pro, so speakers, I just have it to Rodecaster Pro to chat. Echo cancellation, I do not use echo cancellation. Ann and I, we don't really use echo cancellation like that for any of our shows. When I'm doing remote production for other clients, I don't really use that because we do onboarding, making sure that clients who are coming in always have like headphones or in-ear monitors, and we don't have any issues with echoes and slapback and whatnot. So that is disabled. But if you are working with people, or if you want to do content where you don't have to require this, which we highly require you do in-ear monitoring, make sure you have this checked, just like in Zoom, where Zoom is suppressing audio with echo cancellation features. But you see what I said? It's going to suppress your audio, all right? So if you want the clean quality audio for you and your guests and just everything, everyone that you work with, everything that you use Ecamm for, just get into the practice of using in-ear monitors when you're doing those type of Ecamm a broadcast. And also when your guests are coming in, make sure they're coming with a pair of headphones also, so you can disable that and actually enhance your audio quality. Okay. Broadcasting system audio. For me, I only do that when sharing the screen. And when we go into the modern screen share feature, this is where that is going to come in handy. Because if you don't have this set and you're launching a screen share overlay and you want to share sound from that screen share overlay, you have to come here and enable it. So enable it here before you do that. Okay. Automatically mute microphone and guest video during video playback. The microphone and guest audio will be muted when in video playback mode with no picture-in-picture. That's good to have, so leave that checked. Something that when we first got the Rodecaster Pro 2, this is like, when it first came hot off the press, and there were some mapping concerns and things like that. We were always told to leave this checked. So that's that, right? But as you can see, you've been hearing me just fine. So that's been long resolved, but I don't know, like I'm creature of habit, so I just leave that checked there. Mute movie sound on speakers. We're not really using speakers because again, we're using this, so I don't work with this. And system output mix mode, usually leave them unchecked, right? Because if you like what you see, you like what you hear, and I don't have these checked for anything, I'm not using them for anything special, disable them. You don't need them. You don't need them, okay? Let me just make sure. I'm just gonna go through the chat real quick and just make sure you're all good. Shay, hello, very good to see you here. Ralph, hello, very good to see you. Wayne Roberts, hello, very good to see you all here. Nice. If you do have questions, again, make sure Q:space. All right, if you have any questions, and I'll get to them a little bit later on. So moving right along to interview. Interview, this applies to the interview mode, right? The Ecamm's interview mode. When a guest is coming in, the phone is gonna ring. So that's what play ring chime is. The phone is ringing, so you can bring the guests in. That's pretty cool. Automatically add incoming guests. So in Zoom where you could disable the meeting room and they could just come in at will. Do you want to do that with people? If you do, check that, right? So they'll just automatically come in. But if you want to pick up the phone, answer the phone, make sure you welcoming people in, leave this disabled so you can manually bring people into your broadcast, right? And speaking of bringing people into your broadcast, once they call you and you pick up the phone, once you pick up the phone, they're gonna go to the green room in the interview panel, which I'm gonna show you that a little bit later on. And that's when they're gonna be back there. They can do whatever they want. They can stay muted until you're ready to bring them in as a camera overlay or whatever that may be, okay? So we're gonna get into that a little bit later. Lower music and movie sound for guests when in off-air audio mode. Never had any complaints with guests with like the music or anything like that. And also too, if the music or whatever you're playing is a problem for your audience, then it'll probably be a problem for your guests. So if right off the bat, when you're producing and you know what your sound levels are like, I don't think you should bother with that, right? And guest view. That's a frequently asked question or a frequent issue. I did a broadcast and I have different scenes, I have overlays, and I'm showing my screen and blah, 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 blah. The guest is there. The guest only sees me. What's going on? That's where you fix that. Guest view. Guest view could be either the host camera, so all they're going to see is you, or the broadcast. So when you have it checked to broadcast, they're going to be able to see everything else that the audience is seeing. So if you have different slides for your presentation and whatnot, they'll be able to see that as well, okay? And if we go to customize interview settings, you're gonna get, I'm not able to move this here. I can't move this around. It's not, it's modal. So this is where you can actually customize your interview settings, okay? You can also, so this is for This is for customizing your guest experience, okay? So when they join you, they'll see dark mode, for example. So if I send somebody meant to interview link, they have dark mode as a default. They have a private chat, right? So they can chat with you and through the interview settings. Audio processing for guests is turned off, but it's kind of tricky because to turn off, you have to have it checked, right? So if we go back to audio, echo cancellation here is enabled, is unchecked, but in here it's checked, right? So because we don't want the processing. And it's the same thing as in Zoom. Musician mode, you know, when you want to enhance your quality in Zoom, you turn on that music mode. That's the same thing that we're doing here inside of Ecamm because we are doing away with echo cancellation technology, and we're all just using our in-ear monitors. This way, there's no echoes to be canceling, okay? And viewer comment, viewer count, just like I or you as a producer, you're able to see how many people are commenting, how many people are tuning to you live. If you want your guests to see that also on their end, you have those checked. So as you see, this is basically the standard that we use, for our shows, and it works fine. So this is where you go if you want to customize that experience. Okay. And we just have a few more tabs to go. We did interview. We were just there. Screen sharing. We'll see if actually see on this monitor where I do screen sharing, I don't really have desktop icons, as you can see. And over on here too, if I'm going to screen share something, I'm going to screen share it from this browser here, but I don't really have desktop icons and stuff. I keep that clean for that reason, because we do a lot of screen sharing. So keep your desktop clean. That's why, what else can I say? Or put all those things into one folder, right? Include desktop icons, uncheck that. Desktop picture, that's going to be a wallpaper. Want to leave that. Add margin when zooming to an Apple window. All these things, I just leave that. We just leave it as is. The only thing on this particular tab is definitely the desktop icons, because I know that'll probably solve it for a lot of you folks. That will just remove the desktop icons for you. I remember there was somebody in the Ecamm Live community who asked that not too long ago. Okay, I don't do anything with the shortcuts. Remote control, I just have the Stream Deck here, and Zoom. So Zoom, I'm pretty sure. So auto admit Zoom participants, just like in the interview tab, auto answer guests. So if you just want, you send the link, boom, they join. There's no wall there. They just join you, right? But you don't want that. You want to manually bring them in. Same thing here. So if you want to manually bring them in, keep this on never or known participants. But I just leave it on never, just like on regular Zoom. Auto add Zoom participants as an Ecamm camera source. Never, known participants, or always. I think it's best to leave it on never, because what if you want to assign them to guest number 2 instead of guest number 1? You'll do it there, okay? This, I leave it defaulted to live streaming. There'll be a notification in the Zoom. It says, hey, when it says recording in progress, it'll say live streaming in progress, whatever the case might be. But never had any issues with that. Leave it to that. Show Zoom guest names. I mean, that's up to you. Automatically add Zoom guest name text overlays. There is something similar in the interview mode, where in the original interview panel, where it automatically assigns a little text overlay for you. But you have text overlays in Ecamm where you could just do your own thing, so you don't really need that. This is active speaker camera. There's a new camera overlay inside of Ecamm, where if you have different people speaking inside of Zoom, it'll automatically switch to those different speakers, right? So that's what that is. Show me as an active speaker. If I want to pop up in that special active speaker window, every time they hear my voice, it'll cut to me too. or if I don't want to be included, that's just for my panelists, I'm going to remove myself from this active speaker situation. Uncheck it right there. Okay. Zoom audio processing. Configure audio profile in Zoom settings. See, I leave it like this because inside of Zoom, I just want to make sure, I'll just double check the audio settings on Zoom to make sure that the musician mode is on, echo cancellation is disabled. So I don't touch this inside the Ecamm end. I just double check it when I launch the Zoom meeting to make sure everything is as is, okay? And add Zoom chat and Q&A questions. Oh yeah, you want that. You want to pull up Zoom comments. That is one of the coolest, newest features ever. So you definitely want to include that. And manual only mode. Use this setting only when you'll be mixing your own Zoom audio and all that good stuff. I've never really had to use that as of yet. Okay. So that is a good run through of the different settings. Always, whether you're new or existing, or a lot of you call yourself fossils, always go there because, you know, when they have new Ecamm updates, there might be new features that are added there, okay? Let me just make sure we don't have any questions. And speaking of questions, right? So we say Q colon. Let's pull up first the first thing, which would be the comments overlay, right? So I have the comments here on a middle monitor here, which is the teleprompter monitor. I have my comments here too. That's why you don't see it over here. So I'll just bring it over here. And then when you want to search for a question, you just do Q. You can do either Q. The Qs will pull up here, right? So this is one here. For example, Matt is asking, we'll get into that. How do you enter exit preview mode? We're going to thank you for that, Matt. When using the monitor, what is it that you are listening to? When you are using the monitor, what is it that you are listening to? Is it yourself? Got you. Let me pull this up. Yeah, so the audio monitor, you're referring to the in-ear monitor? Yes. I'm hearing myself. I'm hearing myself through my microphone, and any sound effect that is being played on the audio interface, or any sound effect that's being played in Ecamm, any system audio that's being broadcast from, like, let's say a screen share, you'll hear all of that there. So the entire broadcast, all the broadcast audio, you'll be able to hear it through in-ear monitor versus through your external speaker, which might leak back into your feed and cause problems. Okay? So yes, I'm monitoring everything. And Matt, I'm going to get into that. Can you record the program and stream simultaneously? If internet connection goes down, can I still have a clean recording of the show? This is exactly what I am doing right now. So unfortunately, I cannot show you. Right here, you see in between new scene and the recording here, you know, and especially if you're following along, you'll see the tab here where you can change whether you want to stream, record. I forgot what the third one is, but if you uncheck all of them, you're just going to be in presenter mode. There's no streaming, there's no recording. But if you check stream and you check record, you're going to be able to stream and record at the same time as I'm doing now. And under recording, you see I have it under record all broadcasts, right? And then this is where I can actually either choose my recordings or show my recordings. So if I click here, it's going to open up my Ecamm Live recordings folder, okay? So as of right now, I am both streaming and recording at the same time, okay? And I'm assuming it's better to use a third-party phone system. I'm not sure what you mean by that, Hank. I'm not sure what you mean by that. I might have missed it. What is off-air audio mode? I believe Paul answered that, but off-air. So for example, during let's say we're during a countdown scene, we're muted. You as the audience, you can't hear what's going on. In the back end, if I have Anna, or if we have like panelists or whatever the case might be, we can be able to interact with each other on the back end. That's what the off air is, while we're, in the back end, and you won't be able to hear that. We, for the most part, we mostly use it for the intros and outros, like those countdowns and stuff, because our mics are muted. We have a timer, and we're able to speak to each other in the back end, or just crack jokes or whatever, and just break the ice and get comfortable before the show starts. That is the use case. That's been the use case for the off-air audio mode. But if there's like something important that you want to say before we go live, that's another good time to use it as well. And I think okay. Now I think we're good to Matt. We're good to go with Matt. So I'm not a beginner. How do you enter and exit preview mode? Literally don't know. Okay, so let's do that right now. So this is the preview mode right here. Okay, and I guess to make this a little bit better, better demo, let's pull up our second panel, right? So we opened up our comments panel, but now we're gonna go to new. So this here, you want to launch your scenes panel, your slides panel. Let's say you started Ecamm for the first time and you're blank like this, and you're like, where's my scenes panel? Or where do I create slides? It's right here. New scene, show scenes window, or command backslash. Let's try that. Command backslash. See? And that pops up. So this is your scenes panel here. And again, as you see, I am bare bones. I just have the countdown here and a new scene. So let's say this is gonna happen in demo mode, but I'll probably exit demo mode to show you what you should really be seeing, or what the audience should really be seeing while you're doing this behind the scenes live editing, right? So we go into preview mode. So right now in preview mode, I can do whatever the heck I want in here, and you're not gonna be able to see it, right? So now that I'm in preview mode, I can pull up a text overlay. I can do this. Like if I forgot to add a lower third or whatever the case may be, oh my gosh, or your guest has a typo in their name or something like that. This is what we're doing here, right? Boom. Let's go here. I add this here. Okay. See what I'm doing? Let's get out of live demo mode, and I'm gonna monitor it here also. I'm doing all this here. Let's see. I'm just gonna wait for the replay to pop up on my end also. You don't see anything. You don't see anything because I am still in preview mode. You don't see the lower third. That lower third is in preview mode, and it's not ready. It didn't come out yet. All right, it didn't come out yet. So we're gonna come back here. So if we like this, it can get kind of like while you're doing this live, because you want to make a fix. This is like why preview mode can get a little some because you're trying to make a fix, and you're trying to make a fix during a segment, and you're trying to fix that before you gotta cut to a next scene. Preview mode can get a little hectic, but this is what we did. And then now, when you're ready to go back, you're gonna publish the change. Okay, I'm gonna click publish. So once you publish it, it's official. Okay, so we could go back to live mode now, right? So let me get out of live demo. Before we go back to live mode, let's see what we see. That we hit publish. Let's see what we see now. I'm gonna wait to see it on my end too, because I don't remember. Okay, so it's there. It is there. I see it there in the replay. However, you want to make sure you're out of preview mode, okay? So let's go back to live. So now we're done, right? We're able to add the lower third on the back end, and we're able to publish it. But once you finish publishing it, you have to click go back to live mode. So those are the steps. Those are the steps there. Okay? And so here, this is where you're gonna add your slides, right? I have slide 2, right? So what if we wanted to add slide 3, slide 4, and etc.? This is where you do it. You hit the plus icon here, and it cuts to this. Remember earlier what we did? Earlier, we said default source to blank. So that's what you're seeing, a black screen here versus a camera, right? Because we were able to do that. We were able to set up all of our preferences earlier on, okay? So this is where you build your scenes, build your slides and all that good stuff. But now we want to add stuff, right? We want to add, how do I add my name to my slide? Where do I go for that? Which is pretty cool is that you don't have to go anywhere into the menu. You have all these little icons here on the main Ecamm program window. That's why I like to keep 2 program windows. Again, I have this where I could actually monitor the live feed and what's happening and things like that. But I also have the main Ecamm here on, this is my Ecamm production monitor that you're seeing here with all the panels that I use and everything. And in addition to all the settings here, I have full access to Ecamm at any given time during a broadcast or recording, all on this dedicated monitor here. Okay, so I want to pull up the overlays so I can start adding stuff to my slides. It's this magic wand right here. So the top one is a camera switcher. The second one is to show and hide. Actually, I'm sorry, it's the second one. Show hide overlays, right? The third one is to pull up your sound levels. Let's do this now because now I'm gonna start actually adding stuff to the screen and the stuff that I normally use, okay? We already added the slides, and that's why I wanted to show you exactly, if you lost this, you're not gonna find it on this side of the screen. Yeah, it's right here. If you want to pull up your slides or your scenes, it's right here, okay? Or you could use a shortcut. That's gonna pull up your scenes. But now if you want to pull up your overlays and all your other bells and whistles, you come over here, okay? So I'm gonna pull up my overlays, okay? My overlays here. So this is how I do it. You can dress up or arrange your panels however you want to. You can make them wider and things like that, but I kind of like them, tall, skinny, and things like that, so I can put them to the side and I could add other stuff on both sides and underneath and try to make everything nice and neat. Okay, so I have my scenes, my slides here. Now I have the things I want to add to my slides. Right there, right? And then, so all you see right now is Fuljens Henry because we did that during preview mode. That's one overlay that we added, okay? And we were pulling comments on this scene also. So the comments will pop up as an overlay. The thing with the comments is that you see Matt's comment here. So if I pull up another comment, it's gonna replace it, okay? So you're not gonna have a bunch of comment overlays piling up on top of each other. They're gonna replace once you add a new one to the broadcast, okay? So for instance, but if you do want to pile them onto each other, the fun thing you can do is just drag and drop, drag and drop, drag and drop. That's how we do adding all the comments to the scenes. You just drag and drop them to the scene, but now they become permanent overlays. You have to delete them manually, okay? That's how we do that. That was a quick little fun fact for you. All right, so we have our scenes, we have our overlays. What else do I use? I like to monitor the camera effects. So this is the magic wand here. Before that, let's go to the third one. Actually, let's go to the top one, the camera switcher. Earlier, we disabled the original camera switcher that is floating inside the Ecamm window, right? Because it's in your way. Right? And also there's a much better polished camera switcher than that, which is what we're gonna use now. Let me shrink my window down a little bit first so we can make more room. So we're gonna load this. Here, this camera switcher is the bomb, right? So let me stretch this for you. You can see all your camera sources under all sources. You can see some disabled here because I'm not using this one here. I'm using this one right here. If I want to activate my continuity camera, I can do it from here also. If I have a guest coming in, I can see the guest down here as well. And you know what else is also cool about this camera switcher? On the talk shows and stuff like that, you remember during COVID, they were like sitting in the chair and they're talking to their guests like on the from a monitor there and things like that. I'm like, yo, how do you do that? You can do that so easily in Ecamm because you click on these three dots and you select show source in separate window. Bam. So now it pops out the camera for you, and you could take that camera and drag it to any monitor. So you can have like a monitor behind you and your guest could be behind you, whatever, or whatever you want. So that's how you can actually pop out these sources and use and bring them anywhere else you want to. So that is pretty cool with the brand new shiny toy camera switcher. In addition to, when you want to do these, let's show you both at the same time in stereo. If you want to do, where is it? Recordings, where are you? Tab number 4 under Ecamm Live Preferences, right? So we want to do isolated video recordings, as we said earlier. I want to record camera A, I want to record camera B, because I want to repurpose those later. You go here to camera switcher, and this is where you would assign. So I want camera A to be my cam link, for instance. I will just select it here, right? I want camera B to be a guest, so I select it here. I want the Zoom active speaker to be recorded. So let me see here. Let's add, and this is where you can add additional placeholders too. If you want to do more isolated recordings, make sure you add another placeholder. So we're gonna click plus, add placeholder camera. So now that's gonna create camera C, camera D, so on and so forth. And it also has the Zoom active speaker here as well. And if you want to record that, you make sure you check Zoom interview and Zoom guests, okay? Under here, all right? So that's what's really cool about the camera switcher. But the camera switcher, I like to leave it there as well on my monitor, because for reasons like this, when I'm doing demo mode like I'm showing you now, normally if I want to show you, okay, let's pull up the text panel, I'm gonna have the text panel up here, so you could still see me down here, okay? So that's why I like to have the camera switcher to be monitoring. I'm still able to monitor the camera feeds while other things are in the way. And next we launched the show hide overlays, audio, right? Your sound levels. So that's gonna be here. I usually leave it right around here. This way I can monitor the mixer. And also the movie levels, I usually have a little bit lower because, the audio kind of comes in a little bit loud. Same thing with sound effects and all those things like that. So this is where I keep the sound levels. That's definitely important to have around in your visuals, your line of sight. And I like to have the fourth one, the camera effects, which I keep right here. This is where you can activate your green screen if you have a green screen. A lot of fun stuff there. If you want to adjust your camera, I like my framing the way it is, but what if I wanted to crop it in a little bit more? Click zoom and pan, and now I can actually fix it up like this, right? If I want a tighter crop, I can do it like that as well, okay? And if you want to adjust your colors and things like that, as opposed to using LUTs and whatnot, you can just do that right here and right inside of Ecamm, okay? You can adjust all those things right here, and you have additional effects here as well. Sometimes you're like, going into a webinar and you noticing that, you kind of look backwards or whatever the case might be. You can fix those things inside of Ecamm in addition to adding like additional effects like this, right? So there's a lot of cool things you can do here. So I like to leave the camera effects live right here on my interface as well. And what else? So we have the camera effects, sound effects for sure. I like to have the sound effects here. Right now I'm on a blank profile, so you just have these the default stuff. And then for the countdown, I had a song there for the countdown. So when you add a song, if you just drag and drop a song to a scene, let me show you real quick. Right, so if you drag and drop a song file to a scene, I have these song files here. That's what I'm looking at up here. Oops. Okay, right? So I'm gonna drag and drop it to the scene. I'm not gonna drag and drop it to the sound effects panel. I'm gonna drag and drop it to the scene here so you can see what happens. Actually, I'm gonna put the sound effects up here right? So if you notice, I just have the Ecamm default sound effects, and I have this up and up that was playing during the countdown. Right? And as you notice, that's very loud, right? So sound effects, this is where you would adjust your sound effects here. Let's bring it down to like maybe 50 for now and play it back. Okay, that sounds a little bit better. But now if I want to add a song to this scene, I'm going to basically drag and drop it to this scene here. I'm going to drag and drop it to my slide number 2. Okay? So let's pause that for a second. Or actually, I'll just leave it running. Right? So you notice what happens when we did that? We add it to the scene, and then it automatically will populate into your sound effects. All right? So this is where the songs or any audio file that you're adding to specific slides, it's going to populate into your sound effects panel. That's why I think it's important to have your sound effects panel there. This way you can monitor what's playing. If you want to stop it real quick, you can just stop it there, right? Because it's playing in the background. Okay, so I can just stop it here, right? That's one thing. That is one thing. The other thing too is, in addition to that, up here. So let's say I want to leave the sound effects on 100 because I want to keep my sound levels on 100 throughout all the scenes for whatever reason. That's fine. So if I come back here, it's very loud, all right? Because the beat is going to drop super loud, however. But look, up here, you can adjust individually within the scene. You can adjust the audio here as well, okay? This way you don't have to mess around here. You're going to just address it right here, okay? And then when you want the music to stop, after you cut to the next slide, you uncheck. You keep this check, stop when scene ends. So when the scene ends, you're not gonna hear it on the other scene, right? But if you want it to play, you're gonna uncheck this. Check this out, right? So I'm gonna go to the blank one. The music is still playing. Do you want that? Do you want that? It's up to you. If you do, that's how you do it. But if not, make sure you have it stop when the scene ends. So when you play, it's gonna stop. And then if you don't want the audio file anymore, you just exit out. This way you don't have the music play. But remember, they're gonna populate in your sound effects panel here. I think this is what I have for the most part. Let me just, and then I just do a little bit of OCD here. Let me see. I think I keep this like this, and then I just, because again, I kind of like X out everything. So I do this, I have mine like this, monitor it like this, and I usually have my sound levels around here, and I have my sound effects here, and then the comments, again, I don't have my comments here, I have my comments in front of me. This way I can monitor the chat here. And also too, on this side here, at least for me, for example, I'll probably just like shorten this a little bit. So if I need to bring in an interview, I'll have it here, and or Zoom, I'll have it here also. So that's how I like to do it. So all the other things, again, if you don't need it, X out of it. You don't need it, right? You don't need to keep it on your screen. Let me just go through some of these comments real quick to see where we're at. Let me just make sure that we're squared away. Bear with me just for real quick. There's some names cannot be changed when you are live recording. So I know Paul was addressing a few things here. Shay, I think I said hello to you. If not, hi again. Ralph says, I made a feature suggesting on Ecamm to have a global mic mute instead of muting. Yeah, that's good. That's a good feature. When using the monitor. Okay, I answered that. George, hello. Good to see you here. We mentioned stream and record at the same time. I see Anna is also helping Darren as well. Val, thank you so much. I don't put the comments overlay in mine because I'm afraid of some messed up things people might say. Yep. Let me see what else. Steven, hello. Good to see you here. Oh, yeah. Present mode, both off. Thank you. Yep. Stream, record, and present mode is both off, as I mentioned before. But I thought there was a third one there, but whatever. You'll see it there. But a lot of people have been having issues with that. So just know where to go if you want to stream or record or both. All right. Matt is squared away with preview mode. Can you use an iPhone as a monitor to see your broadcast? If so, what would I need to make that happen? I'm not sure about iPhone, Marianne, but iPad, yes, you can do that. iPad, I believe you can, because you could set your iPad as a monitor with on your Mac, and I know you could use that. But the iPhone, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Okay. When you first started using the monitor, was it difficult hearing it? Oh yeah, oh yeah. So difficult, so difficult to get used to hearing my voice, because I know a lot of us don't like the sound of our voice. For the life of me, I don't like hearing the sound of my voice. So it was very very difficult. But doing it every single day, almost every single day during COVID, resolved that real quick, real quick. If a stream goes down, can I make sure recording doesn't go down as well? I believe it continues to record. I believe it continues to record, but the thing is, when the stream stops, if when this I think okay, when the stream stops, I believe the broadcast stops too. So the recording might stop. But if that's the case, I think you could just continue. You could just go to record only and continue recording. But that hasn't happened in a while. So, but because we haven't had any like instances, and it's been a while since I ran into an issue where we were kind of like streaming and recording, except on LinkedIn, and that's the only time I could confirm that, because there are times when we're live on LinkedIn or trying to go live on LinkedIn. There's an issue with LinkedIn Live, and then the thing ends. I think everything just stops. So it's either up to you to click go live again or just continue recording locally. So I think that's what that is. I think both stops. But you have the recording. The recording is not going to be destroyed or something like that. So wherever up to the point where the stream stopped, you have that recording. So at least that is saved. If that helps, I hope that helps. Okay. Is there an episode that shows how to do the scenes that look like an actual news station? Listen, I would design the whole news station for you if I had a some time for you. But speaking of that, Hector, if you want to, let me see. Take a look at some of the. This is going to be a quick segue. Anna and I, we for the most part build tons of everything as much as we can inside of Ecamm, including our new shows, Ecamm Network News, the overlays we do on building blocks. I'm coming to you bare bones here, but we have a ton of graphics that we create on our store. That's annaandfuljens.gumroad.com. And while I'm here, I can just show you something really cool, right? So if we go to this new scene here, and we're going to open up a screen share. So this is like, I'm looking here, I want like, hey Hector, check out our graphics here, right? So I'm gonna, in order for me to show you that, I need a screen share to show you, right? So let's click on this monitor here, and that's gonna open up a screen share overlay. So I have a lot of flexibility. If I click on this pencil here, I can keep it on 16:9 wide. There's different ways, but this is a monitor I want to show you. So I should keep it on 16:9, my screen share. And remember earlier where we said that if we want to broadcast the audio coming from the window, if you're playing a YouTube video from your screen share or things like that, you notice how I have this option here, activate system audio capture. So if I click on that, if I'm playing something from the browser, you'll be able to hear it inside of Ecamm. But in order to do that, if you go back to the beginning of this video, I showed you where to go into system preferences to make sure that you activate that broadcast audio, okay? So right here, and if we just want to do a basic screen share, bam, right? So if you go to annaandfuljens.gumroad.com, we have this is this up until this weekend, we have some like Black Friday sales going on here. But if you come down here, we have camera templates and all this good stuff. But look at that, tons of stuff. I'm a big fan of creating news overlays and things like that. So we have a ton of those there at our store as well. So take a look, and we have some sales going on right now. So you might like some of those things. Also check us out on ENN, and you get a feel of other graphics, and check us out on Building Blocks, where we design all these things live. So there's tons of resources for you there for you to check out. And again, try to take advantage of those Black Friday sales that we have. Okay. Ralph, thank you so much for the super chat. Hey, that deserves, in case you don't know, Jeremy Hubble is Nintendo legal. So I am authorized to play some Mario sounds for you here. Let me see, what else do we have here? So that was for you. All right, so let me go back to my YouTube thing. Let me just make sure that we are up. We caught up. The more I receive compensation for my voice, the better I started liking it. Yeah, definitely. I agree. Let me see here. Marianne is saying, I saw something in settings when it comes to super chats and stickers. Where is that, please? Let's go and see here. Let me see here. Boom, boom, boom. App sounds, camera switcher, utility windows. I don't remember. Video. Boom, 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 boom. It wouldn't be an audio. Wouldn't be an interview. Screen sharing. I don't remember, Marianne. I don't remember. I really don't. So, because the only thing I could think of is the show animated reactions. That's the only thing I could think of. Other than that, I don't remember where there's it's in comments and reactions. Oh, okay, right. So that's one thing, and that's what I'm like. Where do I see some type of super chat reference? Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Paul. Here it is. I'm going to show you right now. So if you come here, you're not going to get it unless a super chat comes through. But you see, I have if we have favorites, so I'm going to favorite your comment, Marianne, and then my favorites went to 2, so I have 2 here, right? And then now that Ralph sent this $10 super chat, there's a super chat tab that opens up, and this is where the super chats will appear. So it automatically filters it for you here. Okay. So that is the only other. Those are the 2. There's the animations, and then there's the super chat tab that appears there. Okay. Boom, 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 boom. All right, cool. I think I'm squared away with okay, I think I'm squared away with any questions and whatnot. Okay. And then Paul is giving me a friendly time check. So I know we covered a lot here. I just want to make sure that we gave you some basics, and then also we also mentioned that there were some original, like the original Ecamm features. I just showed you how to do the screen share, right? The screen share overlay feature versus using the original one, which is up here, but you don't have much control over that, right? But if you pull up the screen, if you create these overlays, you have different options here where you can create screen share overlays. I'm gonna delete them as I pull them up. You can also do web widget overlays. So you can, as opposed to, if you want to free up a modder, if you don't have a modder, you can control them through the web widget, right? So just how I showed you a store, this is gonna pull up the Ecamm Live merch collection. So I'm gonna just change some settings here, 1920 by 1080, high resolution mode, why not? And then, bam, it'll pull up the website right inside the widget, okay? If you wanna move it around and things like that, you see this little toggle right here. If I have it like this, I'm able to control the website within the widget. I think I broke something, or maybe the holiday collection is there we go, right? So I'm able to control it this way. But if I want to move it around and dress it up before I do that, I'm gonna uncheck this. This way I can like kind of move the thing around. But with this strategy, that's gonna free up my monitor, right? So I can actually just use the web widget, and the web widget will also, I believe it should be able to play audio as well. Yes, it does. Oh yeah, it definitely plays audio as well. So if you want to free up monitor, you don't want to use screen share, you can use the web widget. What else? And then right now I am on the camera scene. This is not a camera overlay. This is the OG Ecamm camera. But if I want to, create a camera background and things like that, again, this is why I say like, we try to build as much as we can inside of Ecamm, pull up a new shape overlay. And as you notice here, there's a blur popping up here because I use that blur for the countdown, but I can do a solid color here, color, bam, right? So I have a solid color. And then now, instead of using like the full screen camera, I want to add my own camera. So I just select a new camera overlay here, and then I can select the appropriate camera, and I have more flexibility with this, right? Because I can choose to keep it in 16:9. That's one thing I can choose to do, or I can do a custom shape here, right? You have more flexibility with the modern Ecamm features, right? Tall, and then also you can do what's called a custom crop. You want to do a custom crop? You go to the edge and hold down the Option key on your keyboard, and now check this out. Bam. Right, so I'm cropping the areas I don't want, and that's another frequently asked questions. How do I do those type of things? That's how you do it. So again, hold down the Option key, and you can custom crop any side that you want. Okay, and so much things here. I can add a drop shadow if I want to. I can make my camera overlay or any overlay fly in if I want to, like so. So there's so much stuff. The best way to go about it is to click on the pencil and just play around with these different features here, right? If I want to apply a blend mode, let's go. You want to go crazy? Yes. We apply some blend modes and stuff like that. There's so much you can do here. So you have all these fun. These are the fun features that you have here. Okay, and all these things that I'm showing you, that applies to any overlay that you bring in. You can add different features to in addition to your comments, right? So I like shortcuts. Option Command K will bring up a comment placeholder overlay. Okay. And then once you have that comment there, for instance, let me do that. Let me bring up Hector's here. See, I have Hector's a comment here. I can dress up Hector's comment however I want to. The background, I can change it to, I can add a different background. Bam, right? The text, I can edit the text to a different color. Okay, bam, right? I don't like this. I'm gonna remove the shadow effect. You see like how the font is cleaner when you take off the shadow? If I wanna make Hector's name a different color, oops, that's not gonna be good. Versus that, I can do that as well, right? If Hector made a typo, I can edit that too, but I'm showing you how to dress up your comments while using a live comment, right? You can do all of that there as well, right? And if I want to add a shadow, and again, you want to do the flying in and all that good stuff, have fun with this pop-up here, because this is where you can kind of really add a lot of pizzazz. Check this out, cut out text. You don't really realize it here, but I'm gonna bring it up to my camera. Look at that, the text now is cut out. And if you want to see, and so two things here. I'm gonna do this. See this style, dynamic. If I select dynamic, this is like the original. I want to do this so you can see, right? I did a cutout. The text is cut out. That's pretty cool. You can do that in Ecamm as well. If you want to keep a specific size or a specific shape to your comments, this way, no matter what comment comes in, everything is going to be that same shape. I'm going to go to Style and select Text Box Shrink, right? But also I want to make sure that the font is a specific size. So I'll leave it on 50. This way I can, right? I can do stuff like this, but no, so once it gets to 50, it stops, but I can make the box even bigger because what if you want to do something where you want the comment to basically take up the whole screen like this? You can do it like that as well, okay? So that's what that does. So that's another cool feature. I like to keep it on text box, shrink, and kind of like flex and move it around however I want to, right? So again, have fun with those different overlay features that we have here. And the same applies again to any overlays that you bring in. You can do that as well. So if I bring in, I'm just Command C, Command V, something here, right? So this overlay that I use in the countdown, for instance, right? Right, just to give you an example instead of me finding something, right? This overlay that I use in the countdown here, right? If I click on the pencil, the same thing will appear. Maybe some stuff is missing, like cut out text because it's not text, it's just an animated overlay, but you have different things here, opacity. You could add a border around it, which is not going to be good, but I'm just going to show you what happens because it's going to add a square border around. It's not going to actually wrap around the transparent image. It's going to create a square. So you don't want things like that. But I just want to show you that once you bring in your own overlay, you can click on the pencil and make adjustments there. Sometimes too, if you apply a shadow, you'll see the shadow there as well. So again, play around with these things. Okay. That's all here, and I showed you the text. There's different things. So all these things I showed you with the comments. The comments is a text overlay. That's why you're able to do those things. So the same thing would apply if we create a new text overlay here, and we have shape. We set it to text box shrink, right? And then we go to edit text. I want to bring it up to like 50 this way or 60 or whatever. This way, if I expand it, it can get a little bit bigger. And I just want to have a background, right? So it's basically the same thing. Same thing. The comment is a text box. This is a text box. So it functions the same exact way. So now you know. And then again, if I want to do the cutout text, we select different background. And if I do cutout text, right? So now you see that's cut out, right? You could keep the cutout if you want to do like a scrolling ticker. It's going to scroll with the cutout text. I broke something, but that's why it's looking so small there, but it's a cutout text that's scrolling across the screen, basically. So have fun with those different things, all those different features. I just want to make sure I'm squared away because I know we are short on time. Hector, you're very welcome. I don't know where my sound effects files are. Is there a locate finder option? You don't know where your sound effect. Well, the thing is, let me see here. I'm clicking here. You cannot really find them per se from there. Let me go to source. I know I have video files here. I keep all my sound files under like a drive, and I have all them here and things like that. So I'm pretty sure that's in one of the the resources, the Ecamm resources of where to find those things. Okay, but there is something I do want to share with you. You see these default sound effects here. Watch this. I'm gonna delete them. Fuljens, how could you? How could you do such a thing? Why would you delete all the native Ecamm sound effects, right? What if you want to bring them back? Oh, I miss the applause. How do I bring that back? There is a resource article here. Let me go to the screen share. Let me go to the screen share that we created. Restoring built-in sound effects. Open the sound effects window by clicking on the music note button, which we did. We have it here. And hold down Option key on your keyboard while clicking the plus icon. So, Option plus. Hey, let's try that again. Come on. Option key or Alt. That's what I'm doing. Or maybe Command. open the sound effects window and hold down while clicking on the, hold on while clicking on the plus. There it is. Oh, sorry. All right. So I'm going to hold down Option key. You see where it says add sound file? I'm holding down Option key, as in like the Mac keyboard Option key. And I'm going to hit plus. And bam, everything is back. Right, so that's how you restore your sound effects there. And here's Paul sharing all the shortcuts and all that good stuff there. But there's probably an article on where to restore or where to locate your sound files. I keep them all in one place, so I know always where to go, where to find those things. I just want to make sure that we're all squared away. I don't see any other additional questions, so we can wrap this up. I know we covered a lot, but whenever I host a demo, I like to go through those type of things where it comes to system preferences and best settings and whatnot to get you squared away and set up. This way you can work more efficiently inside of Ecamm, because like all the other fun stuff, we show you those things on building blocks, and we have tons of videos on how to show you those things. And we're gonna have tons more videos coming up in January when building blocks comes back. And we have all that inspiration on ENN on Mondays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as well. So you can get a feel of like what we like to do when it's like a news style type of show and all that good stuff. You can definitely take a look at those. I just want to make sure we're all squared away. I'm getting notified. Is there an episode that shows how to do the scenes that look like an actual news station? Yep, check out Ecamm Network News on I think we cover that. Okay, yep, we cover that. When using a webcam, you can use the app that comes with it to tweak the settings. Do you suggest bypassing the app and using Ecamm for those tweaks? No, you don't have the white balance in Ecamm. Still use your camera hubs. Still use that and then make additional tweaks inside of Ecamm. Okay, and I think that was the one that I was missing. I think we are good to go. I'm going to remove all of these things here and come back to you blank. Bam. All right. So once again, thank you. I think this concludes our demo. Went a little bit over time. Again, definitely check out the store for those graphics if you want to get more inspiration on fuljens.gumroad.com. We'll see you also on Monday night at ENN at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time right here on the Ecamm Live YouTube channel. And if you want to check out all the other fun things you can do with Ecamm, we're going to see you in January for Building Blocks, Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, also right here in the Ecamm Live YouTube channel. But check out our existing playlist because there's a lot of tons of good things that you can catch there. And a lot of those content is evergreen because this most recent with all the recent updates that were done to Ecamm, those videos reflect those recent updates as well. If you have any additional questions or whatnot, you could always hop on over to our YouTube channel on Fuljens, ask them there. You find a way to contact us if you need any additional support. All right. I don't have a closing scene, so I'm going to go to back to the countdown scene. I'm going to hide the timer and we'll close it out that way. All right. Let me get a live download and I will see you guys on Monday. Have a good weekend.